This is Advisor 3.0, a show designed to help you as a financial advisor elevate your professional practice, transform your clients' lives, and take your business to the next level. I am Abraham Okusoya. Welcome to the show. There is something uniquely entrepreneurial about financial planning. And I get it. Not everyone is cut out, to start a business or run a business or even lead a business. But I am always inspired when I hear financial planners, even the one who work in some of the best firms out there, say, I want to strike out on my own. There is something special about it. And so my guest today is gone through this journey, set up his own financial planning firm. I am talking about Dan Boden, who is a chartered and certified financial planner and the managing director of Abode Financial. Dan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Abraham. Wow, that's a good build up there.
No, I really mean it. And, our conversation, in the run up to the podcast confirms this, right? In the sense that I said to you, Dan, congratulations on your first anniversary, as setting up your own firm. And I said, would you come on the podcast to share the story, the joys, the pains of setting up and striking out on your own? And you said to me, oh, no, Abraham, I'm not sure there is much to talk about. And I think that's true because you, like many financial planners that I know, you underestimate how much work and boldness and courage it takes to strike out on your own.
Yeah, I mean, I guess possibly being a bit modest, and an incredible amount of work has gone into this. And, just preparing for today does make me realize that once you reflect upon the journey that it's been on. So, yeah, you were probably right to twist my arm, I suppose.
No, I'm glad your arm was twisted. Anyway, take us back. Give us a sense of your journey into becoming a financial planner, and then we can talk about actually what was going through your mind 18 months ago when you were thinking about striking out.
Okay. So, unlike a lot of people I hear, my entry into the industry was quite deliberate. So I was, say, mid-20s. I was in a pretty mundane sales job, and I needed more. I needed more of a career, more of a challenge, and frankly, more money, which is possibly not popular. But yeah, so I asked around, and a friend of a friend suggested an IFA. I had no idea what one was. So I looked into it, I searched online, and, the more I read into it, the more it sounded, actually, this could be a good fit for me. So upon my research, I found that actually, every man and his dog wants to do this for obvious reasons. So I had no experience at all. I was in my mid-20s, so I had some catching up to do. So what I decided to do was some exams. So I did the CF exams, as it was back then, CF 1 to 5. And yeah, I CF 1, it was incredibly boring. So the book came through, and I just thought that the only thing standing between me and getting my foot on the ladder was whether or not I could learn everything in this book. So that was the gauntlet laid down, as it were. And yeah, so I just become obsessed with it at that point, and I managed to pass all 5 of them within 5 months, having failed the tax one a couple of times in between. And yeah, I was away at the races. So I got the results through for my final exam on the 8th of the 8th, 2008. at 8 a.m., which is quite serendipitous and pretty cool, I guess. But what was not so cool was that obviously it was the start of the great financial crash. So all of the trainings contracts that I'd been eyeing up, gone. So yeah, that was perhaps the universe telling me or challenging me to push back in on my entrance in. But yeah, I had to bide my time for another 18 months. And I finally got a trainee IFA role at a company called Ensley Insurance in Cheltenham. And yeah, I traded in, I halved my salary, traded in my company car for a gold Daewoo Matiz. I don't even think they make them anymore, but look those up. It's an awesome vehicle. And I drove from Birmingham to Cheltenham, an hour each way, but I was there. You know, I had a seat at the table. I'd with zero experience, I'd managed to get myself onto a foot on the ladder. So a couple of years at Ensley, it was great. You know, met a lot of good people, and it was telephone advice really, and it was specifically it was insurance sales. So it was good. It learned a lot about the process, about giving regulated advice and whatnot. But after a couple of years, I knew that I wanted to be giving face-to-face advice and developing those skills. So an opportunity came up to work with a more established firm in Worcester, a company called English Mutual. And yeah, so I jumped at that chance. It was definitely a step up. So, and I traded in my halved salary for no salary. That was the only downside because it was a self-employed role. So late 20s, and those were incredibly hard yards. And you know, just building a business from scratch, it was cold calling, breakfast meetings, networking. It was tough. It was really tough. Learned an awful lot, met some great people. And, you know, the first year, I was kind of late 20s. I think I earned £15,000. So it was tough going. But towards kind of the end of, I think it was 2 years in, English Mutual were acquired by Sanlam. And they were moving away from the self-employed model more to the employed advisor model. It was vertically integrated business. And it was, you know, I felt that it was more of becoming a tied agent essentially. So yeah, it wasn't really how I envisaged my career moving. So an opportunity came up to work at a company called Ermin Foss in Cirencester.
Right.
And that's where I spent the bulk of my career, really. Really grateful for my time there. Amazing. Worked with some really talented people. And it was, I think, where I got my first introduction into full financial planning. And, you know, I still remember my old boss, Nigel, just really hammering it into you. You know, you need to get under the client's skin. If you don't get under the skin, there'll never be clients. So, you know, really focusing on the fact finding process and the discovery meeting and everything there. And, you know, we built a great business. And so much so after 6 years or so, I bought in and became a partner there, one of 4 partners. And just as I was entering the partnership, the chaps at the top, as it were, they were retiring. So COVID hit, and we started to try and negotiate a management buyout over Zoom, which ultimately proved to be unsuccessful because we just generally couldn't make the figures work. And yes, and obviously they needed to still retire, so they decided to sell to another firm. And you know, because I'd bought in, I was able then to invite my clients to join me at another local firm where I took stock for a couple of years. And this was really a point to which I had to decide, you know, whether it was going to be part of a company and what all that entailed, or if I was going to strike out on my own and be in charge of my own destiny. And yeah, I think that really crystallized in my mind that actually it was the latter. I needed to do my own thing. So a couple of months after our third daughter was born, my wife and I, Holly, we set up Abode Financial Planning.
Advisor 3.0 is back. Financial planners, are you ready? 1 day, 5 stages, over 20 game-changing sessions. On May the 15th, 2025, London is the place to be if you want to shake up your skills and network with the very best. Oh, did I not mention? Astronaut Tim Peake is a headline speaker. Yeah, that Tim Peake. So get your tickets now at advisor3.0.co. Don't just stay in the game, lead it.
I mean, I'm just thinking of this. So I would have come into the industry, profession, whatever you call it. The at the time it was definitely industry. Probably 2 years before you did, in bank assurance. But I'm thinking the journey that this is this self-selection process, right? That we have in this sort of the current generation of financial planner. You really had to want it, right? In the sense that you took the exams, on your own. 5 months, you passed 5 exams in 5 months. That is crazy, my friend. You paid for the exam on your own. You passed 5 exams in 5 months. I was taking my exams in 2015, thereabout, and yes, mostly self-funded. You had to really want, and then you took 50% pay cut. That wasn't enough. You did that for, I don't know, 18 months or so, whatever with Ensley. And then you took no pay. Are you understanding the trauma that?
Oh yeah. I understand it. I felt it. Trust me. It was difficult, and you're so right. You had to want it. I became, obsessed with passing the exams. This is what I saw as the next step for me. This was, I had to get a seat at the table, and I was hell bent on doing it. So the work was fine, and it was, going from a comfortable role to ultimately no salary. It was a transition for sure. But I never wavered in my belief that it was the right move for me. I knew it was going to be difficult, and it absolutely was, but it was for sure. I knew I was on the right path.
No, it's incredible, and I just side attraction. I just wish that now going forward, we create a more sort of a gentler path for people who want to come into the profession, and some of that's happening already. Incredibly, you were fortunate to have joined Amon Fosse when you did. Anyway, so 18 months ago, you and Ollie were thinking about setting up. Talk to me about the conversation that you had. 3 daughters. I know what that feels, right? I'm a girl's dad as well. 3 incredibly smart daughters. So you're having this conversation. There's mouths to feed. And of course, you are far more established as a financial planner and all that stuff. And then you say, hey, we're going to create a firm, come up with a brand, go through regulatory permissions, and build a firm. Why? You had a good one going. I know this, right? Because we work with your previous firm, and they're among the best out there. So what was it? What was it going on your mind at the time?
So I think, we often talk to clients about, what does an amazing life look like? Where do you want to get to? What's important to you? What does a great career? How would you, what will you enjoy doing day to day? And, I think frankly it was just a risk I needed to take. And, add to that as well, Holly was actually on maternity leave. So it was really, we were all in. And yeah, it ticked the most boxes. This route was the one that was most aligned to my vision of our vision of what an amazing life looked like and what an amazing career looked like. And, and I didn't want to get to the end of my career thinking, what if?
Yeah.
Who's got time for that? So it's just something I had to do.
No, that's similar to the framework I use for decision making in business. I had this thing called regret minimization. So this is a framework that Jeff Bezos uses, apparently. I read this in his book. And he basically said, if I want to make a big decision about whether I'm going to do something or not, I fast forward to my deathbed. Wow. And, when I'm, 95, 100, I'm not going anywhere until 100. Anyway, and I say, suppose I am on my deathbed on my 99th birthday. And I say to myself, I did this thing and it didn't succeed. Would I regret doing it? Would I regret taking that step? And he says, well, if the feeling and the thinking is, I'd rather be lying on my deathbed saying to myself, well, I tried that. I gave it a go and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I would rather that feeling than the alternative, which is I never tried. And so when you went through that thought pattern, that resonates with me a lot. So anyway, enough about me. So congratulations, a year in. Talk to me about where you are as a business, the structure that you've put in place. Give me some numbers to understand, where you are today, a year in.
Yeah, so, it's not really a year in because it starts so much sooner than the year. You have to be good to go on day one.
Right.
And there's an incredible amount of work that is done up front to be ready. And yeah, we wanted to be, the first thing that we focused on when we set up was we wanted to make sure that our service, we wanted to build a hugely valuable service to our existing clients because we were delighted that all of those joined us. So we wanted to make it as seamless for them as possible. So there's a lot of work up front to do that. It's not just the obvious stuff as well, like your policies and your processes. It's, it's like, where the hell do you get prepaid envelopes from? Random things that you take for granted that are just there, right? And yes, it's a lot of work, a lot of time consuming. But in terms of the team that we have, so it was actually, the biggest decision I had to make was right at the start. Do I take somebody on full time? And it has actually repaid us, tenfold. I've got an amazing sidekick. Emily Loveridge is our ops manager. She's experienced, and we very much build everything together. Our values are completely aligned. Our objectives, we're both very focused on delivering an unbeatable service for our clients. So fortunately, that risk paid off because obviously, when you're setting up, it's not a given that all your clients will come. So yeah, we had to take a bit of a calculated risk, but that worked for us. So there's myself, I'm the sole planner. Emily's the operations and clients manager. My wife Holly is in the office too. So a big part of our story at the moment is growth. We're growing, and digital marketing is a big part of that, and our branding. So that's something Holly heads up. And we outsourced 2 other functions. So when we were doing the FCA application, we got help from Katz and specifically Gemma Knight. Amazing. So yeah, we struck up a good relationship, and we asked if Gemma could be our compliance manager moving forward, and she is that. So I think with compliance, I think it's particularly important. It lessens the load on me, and getting expertise from people who can do the job better than you, frankly. And that's something that they certainly can. And she doesn't just tell us what we want to hear as well. You know, she's very happy to push back, which is very useful. And the power planning as well. We work with Sasha Wakefield from Powerplan Project. Great. Sasha's really good, hardworking, and she just got it. You know, the tone that we were looking to communicate to our clients with, how we wanted to lay things out, and we did a lot of work up front about, you know, working with about templates that we could quickly turn around in house, that kind of thing. So that's the team. In terms of numbers, we look after 72 client households at the moment, and it's about 45 million under management. We turned over around 340 in the last 12 months.
Wow.
And we're very focused on growing, and we've got space for I think another 50, but we've got plans in place to transition gently to that. And what happens when we get there, or upon arrival, what does the team look like then, and how we might change that. So that's us.
It's fantastic. I mean, you know, the structure you've adopted is actually similar to, I don't want to underplay, the accomplishment by saying it's proven, right? But this very focused, ultra focused solo practice, and it doesn't mean that you will stay there, right? It doesn't mean you will stay there. The marketing help, the marketing incredible work that Ollie has done with the marketing, just the brand. I when I went on the website and, building brighter futures, it says, and I remember seeing something on the website about, one size fits one. I just love the marketing, and our genius comes out in the marketing side of things. And then, of course, this thing that I see over and over and over again, which is find that incredible ops manager who takes all of the burden of, I don't want to say non-client facing thing off you. I mean, because they do interface with clients, but takes all of that stuff off your hands. The ops manager is a superstar on their own.
Yeah.
Which, and then you have, I want to say ass-kicking para-planning support, which is outsourced in this case. But I've seen it work outsourced. I've seen it work in-house as well. You get the compliance support and all that stuff, which creates a space for you as a financial planner to work in the area of your highest value, which is winning clients, serving clients, delivering great financial planning for a brighter future. Congratulations, my friend. This is the first year. I tend to think of revenue slightly differently than most financial planners do, which is what you've done. You look backwards and you said, oh, we done 350 or whatever in the first year. By the way, that's like 200 times. 200% the average financial planner. That's what you've done in the first year. But I tend to look at where you are today and I look forward. So your run rate will probably be, 400, 450, something in that region. And that's just incredible.
Thanks, Abraham. Yeah, I mean, we act, and all of our structures, processes, and again, Emily and I have devised these together. We wanted to act on day one like £1 million firm. We want to be able to get a really solid base So once clients start we onboard more and more, we've got a solid foundation. It won't creak. And that is trial and error, so we put something in place and we'll always have a debrief. Okay, so how did this go? What could we have improved there? And slowly but surely, we're finessing all of our processes and we're getting into a more and more efficient and more slick place. And, we're writing everything down. We're documenting everything as well. So when somebody, the next member of staff comes in, they can read. Okay, so how do we do this? It's already built into our back office CRM. We use Planner, which we've been very happy with. The guys there are doing amazing things. And yeah, we're everything we do, we're thinking with an eye to the future as well. So not just delivering an amazing service now, we're thinking, okay, will this stand the test of time as well, as and when more clients are poured on top?
I love that you're in the growth mode, as you said. So you said, so I want to ask you a question, but I'll give you a background. So you said 45 million ish, doesn't matter, for 75 client households, which tells me that the average household is 600,000 odd, right? So, and then you said you think you have capacity for 50 more.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the question is, are you doing anything different in terms of that 50, especially in terms of, let's say, average assets that you would take on, relative to the 75? Are you thinking about that differently or approaching that differently than you did the 75? Are you more selective, less selective, specialist? What's the thinking there?
Great question. It is something that we've given a lot of thought to. And yes, the answer is yes, we are. I mean, I've been working for most of my clients for over 10 years. Amazing. And lots of different stories, backgrounds, and, what we reflect upon and we constantly think about is who do we work best with? When we're not trying to close the advice gap. Some firms are, that's amazing, but that's just not us. So we don't have a fixed niche, really, in terms of we don't serve, bass fishermen from Wyoming or whatever.
Right.
But what we do know is that we enjoy working with people who are intelligent, dynamic, we work face to face. That's just how we prefer to do things. And that therefore means that you have to be in the local vicinity. And we're great at pensions. We like working with people at retirement. We get to use the breadth of our skills there. So yeah, and when people are at that stage of their journey, it matters more to them. They want and need advice and guidance, and we're very happy to give it to them. So we find that actually we are more selective. We do find that we're signposting a lot of clients onwards, and that's fine, and yeah, so we are, yes, being more selective. We get around, the marketing that we're doing is starting to bear some fruit, and we get around 4 or 5 inquiries a month now.
Wow.
We hope to double that in the next 6 months. So yeah, and because we are, we want to grow, we don't have to grow given the stage and the size we are. So I think we're in a very fortunate place, and we've got amazing clients that we've been working with for years that we still very much enjoy dealing with, and yeah, seeing those, that's really what we enjoy doing.
Okay, what have we got? 700 advisors, 20 sessions, May the 15th, 2025 at London. After party, very important. What am I missing? You! Yeah, you! Listening to this. Advisor 3.0 tickets are selling very, very fast. Be sure you get yours. You don't want to miss out. All information can be found out at advisor3.0.co. See you there.
What do you do in terms of marketing? What do you do?
So we focus it's digital marketing we focus on a lot. So Go back one. So I have a lot of established relationships with accountants and a local accountancy firm and solicitors. And I make sure that at least twice a month, we've got touch points with those.
Right.
And that's something that I record and we're targeted with. It can be going for a coffee. It can be saying hello, anything, just to be present, just to be in their heads. And that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is asking your existing clients. I've seen a study from Dimensional, I can't remember the figures, but basically a significant statistic, a significant number of clients thought that their advisors were not actually looking for new clients.
Right.
So we thought, actually, if we remove that, we make it part of our process, our annual planning meeting process, that we actually ask them, we let them know that we're looking for dynamic individuals just like themselves to grow, and if one or two clients that changes their views on it and they actually refer some, it's worth asking. And the more the bulk of our marketing efforts, though, that does go on digital marketing. So we're trying to increase our SEO presence, and we could talk for ages about this. It's something we quite enjoy, actually. And yeah, we're trying to make relevant, targeted content for people. So we want people to read it, local people to read it and think, actually, this is exactly what I'm looking for. ChatGPT has been amazing helping me do that. So I've, back in the Ermin Foss days, I managed, for want of a better phrase, our digital presence. And so I used to write the content to begin with. It took ages and, days and days to get something good. But now, with the experience that I've got and tools like ChatGPT, you can knock something out that's aligned with your tone, which is informative, which is well sourced, a couple of hours. So the statistics that we've got are on the way up. We've still got plenty of work to do with that, keep tweaking, improving, but that is a big thing. And we send out a newsletter every month to our clients and like to keep them informed too about what we're doing, and it's just something useful and helpful for them, and it's certainly a value add in that sense as well.
That's great stuff. So what have you found most challenging about the last 18 plus months or so of setting up?
So the weight of the decisions is something that it quite surprised me, actually. It was, because the great bit about it is that you get to make the choices. The bad bit about it is that you get to make the choices because there's always a chance you can obviously get it wrong. You can do whatever you want, obviously, but you might be the wrong move. So yeah, I guess that took some getting used to begin with, but it's okay to make mistakes. Certainly, I think certainly as far as clients are concerned too. We had an instance recently where the platform made a mistake, but we told the clients about it. We reimbursed them and turned it into a huge positive. They weren't aware of it. But anyway, so yeah, don't be afraid to make mistakes. But I guess really the weight of the responsibility of it, that was something that was certainly a challenge. The work that goes into it at the outset, it's a full-time job on top of your job. So depends on what your individual circumstances are like. That's something that needs to be factored in, certainly.
Yeah. And if we were sort of sitting here, I don't know, you pick the time horizon, 5 years time, or let's say you've invited me to celebrate the 5th year anniversary of Abode Financial. Talk to me about the firm at that point.
It's got to be a fun place to work. That's the first and foremost thing. It really has to be a fun and dynamic place to work. And I want us to be continuing on our growth trajectory that we're on. We want to increase our headcount, And what we're quite excited about is the idea of taking on an apprentice. So I think that'll probably be our next hire. And ideally at that stage, there'll be somebody in shadowing me, and they'll transition into a planning role. And, we work together on clients, and that will be, I think the next logical step. We want to be promoting from within as well. There's levels of responsibility which can be offered as well to staff. And so I think enjoying it, really, that'd be the main thing, and we continue on our path and more of the same, really. And I think as long as we keep our focus and our enthusiasm to keep improving, with a lot of hard work, hopefully, some good things will come.
Incredible stuff. I love the story. I love the growth story, the growth mode. I love the, your ideas about a fun place to work, and more importantly, giving other people a chance to grow, bringing in new people into the business. Lord knows the profession needs this, and indeed the country needs it. So, Dan Boden, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the work you do. Thank you for spending the time to share your story and the journey with us on the podcast.
Very welcome. It's been a pleasure, Abraham.
That's a wrap on today's show. Massive thanks to my production crew, especially Jake Osha, Melissa Canham, and the entire team. And of course, to our sponsor, Timeline, the market-leading provider of integrated planning technology and model portfolio service to advisors. I do hope you've enjoyed today's show. Head over to Apple Podcast and give us your review there. Until next time, goodbye.